My 36 meters wife, 34F, keeps tying my boots after I've told her to keep her hands off of them. I tried to teach her a lesson and really hurt her feelings. Tell your wife that this interference with your gear could crash your marriage and facilitate a death. And is she good with that, or will she work on herself? She thinks I'm being dramatic when I refer to life-saving. That what I do is more transporting boo-boos. Why does your wife not take what you do seriously? I'm sorry to say this, but she seems so out of touch and unempathetic if she thinks that being an EMT is just transporting boo-boos. I hope for your sake that she realizes soon that you do really important work by helping people and that taking any extra time to reach someone may cost that person their life. Because not taking his job seriously enables her to shrug off any criticism and continue with her compulsive behavior. Bingo, ding ding ding. She needs to not take his job seriously so that she can avoid responsibility for her behavior. She's got serious issues. Who in their right mind would do this? Then deflect it by making him feel bad for yelling. What in the actual fuck? How this guy has a happy marriage is beyond me. She needs help. That's just wrong. This guy keeps his head down for more than just boots. There's gotta be something in the weeds. I'm actually stunned to finally hear someone describe OCD symptoms this similar to what I've observed from my father. He's exhibited these exact same behaviors as long as I've been alive, I mean. Identical. Right down to tying/zipping people's shoes and responding with anger and defensiveness when asked to stop. I'm well into adulthood, and he still goes in my room every time I visit and rearranges my stuff. It doesn't matter how neat I am, it's not about that. It's about control of his environment. If he's touched everything in the room. If he's arranged it as he thinks it should be arranged. His anxiety is quelled. For the longest time, I thought he was just a D who didn't respect my boundaries. And yes, the boundary issue is part of it. And mental illness is not an excuse to be shitty to people. But when you're suffering with this kind of compulsion, it overwhelms any sense of boundaries a healthy person would have. Op's wife may understand on some level that this is a violation, she just doesn't. Or can't. Care. Because the need to compulse is far stronger. My dad is 80 years old and all I can feel is sadness that he never got the help he needed and now it's too late. I regret assuming that he was in complete control of himself and was just being an asshole. Only recently, in the throes of the onset of Alzheimer's, did he finally admit to my mom that he has always struggled with this and felt like he couldn't stop himself. With a great deal of shame, he confessed that when left unattended, he would even rearrange things on his boss's desk, but would barely remember doing it afterward. Op. Please try to get your wife to accept help. She will be very resistant. It is terrifying for someone with this disorder to contemplate losing that sense of control. That's why she's being such a D about it. She will make excuses. She will blame you. She will not admit that she has a problem. Don't listen. Push as hard as you can. If she still won't seek help, it is perfectly acceptable to say that you won't stay in a relationship where you have to tolerate this. But if your wife means as much to you as you've described, please don't listen to all these comments calling her a selfish asshole and at least try to help her free herself of this. Edit. Wow. Guys. I'm truly touched that this blew up a bit. Thank you so much for the awards. If my perspective has helped anyone at all, I'm glad I shared it. Thanks also to the people who mentioned OCPD. I had actually never heard of it, but did some reading just now and damn, that's right on the money. Sounds very much like what Op and his wife are dealing with. Too. Best of luck to anyone facing a compulsive behavioral issue. It has been so comforting to me to read all these comments from people in the same boat, and I hope it has helped you, too. If she's open to it, I plan to let her read this thread. I think your comment is very important for her to see. Thank you for sharing your experience. Chief. Imma be real. That doesn't sound like a good idea. This thread is full of people calling her insane, telling you to divorce, calling her a narcissist and all this other stuff. That stuff might be true. Yeah. She doesn't need to read all of that though. I'd recommend compiling the best comments that get across the points without the backquote abuse. It isn't really, but they could be harmful to her. If she doesn't believe you afterwards, then by all means, show the thread. However, I would start with I asked for advice with our situation and some people said show examples. Yeah. Don't show her the thread. Bad idea. She's already super sensitive. She cried because you unlaced her running shoes. Reading this stuff. Knowing that you complained about her online, she'll totally lose her shit. She can't handle that. You'll pay for that. Big time. To be fair, crying from unlaced running shoes could be due to it triggering her OCD, whereas the thread might not. But I agree that op should only show her constructive comments. Any comments can be quickly googled to find the entire thread if she wanted. Your wife's behavior sounds compulsive. She likely has a major anxiety disorder that manifests in this way, which explains her inability to stop herself from the rearranging and the lacing and whatnot. She needs therapy and medication pronto. But that doesn't explain her minimizing the importance and urgency of your job. Even if you weren't literally saving lives, I'd be pissed as F if my partner trivialized my work and dismissed my need to be organized and prepared for my job. I'm skeptical that your marriage is truly as great as you say it is. And I'm concerned that you're just in the habit of subjugating your own needs to keep the peace due to your wife's quirks. You're on the dot about possible mental illness. I don't have OCD or anything, just regular anxiety. I'm not even that big of a neat freak, though I do like to keep a pretty clean house. But the easiest way for me to notice that my anxiety is getting bad again is that I cannot tolerate messiness at all. Especially in the kitchen. I have to wash every single dish that gets used immediately after it is used. It feels completely out of my control. I just have to do it, or I won't be able to stop thinking about it. I practically pull the cups out of my boyfriend's and my roommate's hands so I can go wash, dry, and put them away. I'll end up at the sink doing 1 or 2 dishes or utensils 20 times a day. It's annoying to everyone, including myself, but I never let it go on for very long, because as soon as it starts up I know I'm spiraling, and I do the things I know work to get myself out of it. Edit. To everyone diagnosing me with OCD, even though I just said I don't have it, I see both a psychiatrist and therapist and neither of them think I have OCD. You guys are just reading the term obsessive compulsive disorder and assigning a diagnosis based on that. If you did one Google search you would know that just having occasional compulsions to clean while very anxious does not even come close to meeting the full criteria for OCD. Are you me? I do that and other similar things. When my anxiety gets bad I organize to no end, worse than normal. Like, take everything out of drawers and closets so that I can organize them in a more acceptable manner. And I organize while organizing. Those totes I just moved out of the closet to reorganize, I dump them out too and reorganize them as well. I have OCD tendencies outside of anxiety too. But anxiety makes it out of control. People try to comfort me by telling me it's great to be so organized, and I'm a motivator for them to do the same. Yes, it's nice to be organized, but I'm doing it to the extent I'm doing it to because I'm struggling badly with anxiety when I'm in that mode. I think it's the repetitions that drive me insane. Yet it would drive me insane not doing them, or whatever OCD behavior I end up engaging in. So, I'm damned either way. I've pretty much learned to accept it, and as you mentioned, it's better acknowledging you're spiraling than not. That and I guess I have well organized closets /view 200D. You don't need to do anything to make things right with your wife. You need to find a therapist for her so that she can get the professional help and medication that she needs. At this point you giving into her insanity only enables her behavior, which is either batshit crazy or arrogant and selfish beyond belief after she begins treatment. Then you guys should see a couple counselor to work out the rest of your issues. This is the most sensible and serious reply I've seen yet. Should be higher up there. So take my upvote, op, She's taken your even temper and ran with it to enable her own obsessive compulsive behaviors. Why it would be okay for any caring spouse or even friend to repeatedly do something so unreasonable is beyond me. I get why she would want the laces tied if she's a neat freak, but after the first time you explained it was a potential matter of life and death, it should have never happened again. There is a deep-rooted emotional problem she's having, and she clearly needs external help to get it figured out. You've done nothing wrong here really. It doesn't even matter that it's an issue of life/death. He asked her politely/reasonably/nicely once to not do it again. She has chosen to repeatedly ignore his repeated requests to knock it the F off. But the fact that there is life and death issue here makes it even more unbelievable, and it makes me wonder if she's got something even worse wrong with her, that she would do something that could put her life in jeopardy. Hide your issues. Or if she's on the smaller side of the height scale, put them up in a higher place. I put them in my closet with similar results. Even if they aren't out in the open, she goes for them. There's nowhere she really can't reach. Save for a few places that I would likely forget I'd put them and screw myself over. I think you need to start accepting the following facts. 1. Your wife does not respect you. 2. Your wife is probably mentally ill, OCD etc. 3. You don't actually have a happy marriage, just one that had not been tested. Don't bother making things right. She was the one who started making everything wrong in the first place. You apologized for yelling, and that was the only apology you owed her for any of it. Sit down with her and tell her very firmly that your boots are off limits. If she touches them again, you and your boots will start sleeping in another room so that no one dies, because she won't follow the one simple request you've made of her. And you will also be insisting on marriage counseling at that point, because you cannot and will not stay in a marriage where your partner ignores your wishes over and over again. What's sad is even after Op blew up at her and she was supposedly so scared, she still tied his shoes, which makes no sense. She was so scared that she repeated the same behavior that made him blow up at her. Something JS way off here. Exactly. She is just gaslighting him and playing the victim. This person is insane and manipulative. This is not funny. One day she will kill a person by proxy if you let her. I would seriously consider at least sleeping or keeping your things in a room where she cannot reach them. But I'm being honest, this does not sound like a stable, collected person to build your life with. She will cost you dearly one day and will absolutely never stop her shenanigans. She does not respect you, and she is slightly mentally ill on top of that. I just hope they don't have kids. Just imagine growing up with a mother like that. She's gonna get mad at her kid and outcry him for garnering more attention. Or be one of those just no mill that show up to her son's wedding in a wedding dress. Lol. I wanted to look good for your wedding day. Ungrateful. I did everything for you. Lol.